We will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order.
It was very weird. Okay, so the 9th. Are you ready, Mr. Seebeck?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if this is easy or not because we have our own rules, and that always confuses us when we have LP rules that are different.
Well, let's try it.
The presentation of a minority report in an assembly.
Okay.
You know this might get weird. A, may be adopted by the assembly as the report of the committee.
Yes, keep going.
B, is usually allowed by the assembly when such permission is requested.
Not necessarily.
C, precedes the report of the committee.
Precedes?
Yes.
No.
D, requires a 2/3 vote of the assembly.
That one's crazy. I'm going to stick with A.
Okay, it's not. It's B. And I got this wrong on the practice test.
B?
This is on the practice test.
Okay, B was what again?
Is usually allowed by the assembly when such permission is requested. To me, I have a huge problem with saying what an assembly will or will not do, but that's because we're libertarians. And
No, wait a minute.
I got this right on the test, but it was in the practice thing. I got it wrong. Tell me where to go.
Let me read it first.
That isn't to help. But it is... It says it in black and white in Roberts, and I'm like...
The presentation of an assembly is usually allowed by the assembly when such permission is requested. That requires a vote. Does it not?
I think it says like unanimous consent in there, but let's look. But this was in the practice questions.
I think we have a serious lag going on.
Yeah, there always is.
No, I mean, it's like minutes.
Yeah, but maybe he was off doing
Well, no,
something.
I'm looking at this too, and I'm going, this seems to be delayed too. Because you were talking about something a minute ago, and then it showed me marking it, which was like a minute or two before.
Oh, well, it could be a few minutes behind. That can happen.
Anyway, okay, so 527, which is section 51.
What?
Section 51.
Oh, okay, 51, which is...
Board and committee reports.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And that is 527, which is quite a bit ways back, towards the back of that section. And it says here, formal expression of minority view.
You just go ahead and roll. I don't want to try to find it.
Okay. The formal presentation of a so-called minority report, that is, the presentation of an expression of views in the name of the group or of a committee members not concurring with the committee report, is usually allowed by the assembly when such permission is requested, as explained below. Regardless of whether a minority report is submitted, however, the report adopted by a vote of the majority in the committee should always be referred to as the committee report or the majority report.
And that's it. All it says.
Hold on. As indicated above, the formal presentation of a minority report is a privilege that the assembly may accord, not a matter of right, so we need that. And since the appointment of the committee implies the assembly is primarily interested in the findings of the majority of the committee's members, but in debate on a written or report in the assembly, any member of the reporting committee who does not concur has the right as any other member to assembly to speak individually in opposition. No one can make allusion to the assembly which occurred during deliberations of the committee, however, unless it is by report of the committee or by unanimous consent. When the minority of a committee wishes to make a formal representation of its views, it's customary, unless the assembly refuses permission, to receive its report immediately after the report of the committee.
So it's after.
So we know, right, which is not C. We need
and it
that.
doesn't require a 2/3 vote
to receive it.
No.
Okay.
It's a majority.
So
that's why it's not C or D, and A is wrong because it's not. Even if it's adopted, it's never adopted as a report of the committee.
Right.
It can be adopted as what the assembly decides.
I discounted A anyway.
Yeah, so that's why it's B.
Yeah. The reason why I was saying it was, well, actually, I said A, didn't I? I did.
Yeah, you did.
I got it wrong. Oh, well.
That's what I said, too.
Yeah.
Because I thought they could substitute it for the report of the committee, and they can substitute it as the main motion, but they can't make it the report of the committee. The committee's report is the committee's report.
Well, now, wait a minute. Yeah, actually, they can do that.
They can't make it the report of the committee.
Sure they can.
No, they can't tell the committee what its report is.
No, but they can move. They can move to the assembly can move to refuse or postpone indefinitely the report of the committee, and then move to adopt the minority committee,
Right.
which is effectively the same thing.
But it's not. But they're
It's
adopting.
just two motions, not one.
No, it's still not the same thing. It's adopted as what the assembly wants to do, but it's still not the report of the committee. The report of the committee is what the report of the committee is.
I see what you're saying.
It can be what gets adopted by the assembly.
Okay. I see
That's the difference.
I see your point.
And I said, and on the practice test, I said A too.
Yeah, okay. I see your point.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a confusing one, and that one traumatized me a little bit, to be honest with you.
Favor! Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed? You say nay. Opposed! Opposed! The motion carries anyway.